from 1971 to 75. And it was interesting, and this I cannot ever share with anybody else. You'll just have to believe me. But the way it was revealed was very odd, because it never let me see where I was going. I couldn't figure out what I was doing. I mean, it said, go buy graph paper. Go get your I Ching. Look at the King Wen sequence. Graph the first order of difference. And I would try and guess, what are we doing? Are we discovering an ancient Chinese calendar? Why are we doing this? It said, no, don't worry about that. Just keep, next step. And it always hid from me where I was headed. It still hides from me where I'm headed. And the software has been written, the controversy rages on the internet. I even now have critics. That's good. That shows that it is moving out of the realm of private Idaho into the realm of debatable cultural artifact. And I think that if it's true, or if it has a part of the truth, we will know before 2012. In other words, a lot of people observed, not a lot, but a few hundred maniacs observed this prediction about 1996 and then watched the ensuing debate, my critics, my defense, their response, so forth and so on. So it's being watched, and the meme spreads, and apparently will be helped by things like simply where we are in relationship to the calendar. Simply because we're approaching a millennial turn. The producers of nitwit TV shows want to talk to me. They say, I understand you have a way of predicting the future given to you by UFOs, I heard. We want to put you on the air. Well, I'm not sure about the wisdom of all of this, but I figure, let the meme fight for its life in the jungle of competing models of reality. When I pull back from the specificity and the fact that I invented it, that's my biggest problem. If I hadn't invented this, if I just heard that somebody invented it and this is what it was, I think I would find it very interesting. But since I know the inventor very well, I'm very prone to doubt the thing. I mean, this is not a guy you would want to put a lot of pressure on. I don't know. I'm puzzled, and I offer it as an unsolved puzzle. I preached here earlier that you mustn't seek closure, and so I don't with this. If it's a communication, it's a very curious communication. If it is non-communication, it's even more curious. If it's a delusion, why is it so mathematically formal? If I'm pathological, why aren't there attendant sequela? Why just this very defined thing? The whole thing smacks of the impossible. It's even pushed me toward the idea that maybe this is not actually a reality. We're trapped, or I'm trapped. I don't know if you're trapped, but we're in some kind of piece of fiction. It's like a Philip K. Dick deal, We're in some kind of simulacrum, and the clue to the fact that it's a simulacrum is this impossible idea. And so the point of the idea is not to believe it, but to use it as a wedge to fight our way out of this labyrinth and back to whatever reality we were in before we fell into this situation. Something like that. Anyway, I have the feeling that I'm blathering and spinning my wheels. Is there some final question that brings this all to a... Yes. Oh, yeah, that is an interesting question. Like people say, well, now, are you is this some kind of permission for irresponsibility? Are you saying that the world is going to transform itself no matter what happens? I'm enough of an old political activist to sense the anguish behind that question, because I don't want to say, yes, don't worry about the Palestinians, don't worry about the Bangladeshis, it's a done deal, it's all fine, you can take your eye off the ball and your foot off the pedal. That seems crazy to me, to give advice like that. And yet this thing seems to be saying, it is a done deal, it's going to be fine, it's going to arrive on schedule, under budget, you don't have to preach it, you don't have to worry about it. And so then apparently where it lies is that it is a done deal, but how the deal is done is not a done deal. That there will be a deal is sealed. That is written into the laws of physics, if this is correct. No escape from the transcendence. But how we present ourselves to it is our contribution. It does not say what will happen. It simply says where the novelty will cluster, and apparently it is still open to what happens is still a matter of human decision and of the unfolding of causal necessity. So in a sense it's saying there is a safety net under you, but you still should make an effort not to fall. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yes, a strange thing about the Mayan calendar is it begins in, I believe, 3135 BC, and it ends in 2012. The Mayan civilization began, as far as anybody can tell, around 300 BC and was a done deal by 790 AD. So here was a culture that lived by a calendar that seemed to have no relationship to its own cultural origins or ends. That's odd. I mean, that's not how people do a calendar. The weird thing about the Mayan calendar is it begins on a slow Thursday in August. In other words, it doesn't begin at a solstice. It doesn't begin at an equinox. It doesn't begin with a special astrological configuration in the sky. It begins on Nothing Burger Day in 3135 BC. Well, but it runs forward to a winter solstice and ends precisely on a winter solstice. Who ever heard of a calendar that was formed by calculating backward from a point thousands of years in the future? What kind of squirrely culture would do that? And the answer is, we don't know. But yes, this is a great puzzle that the Mayans seem weirdly disconnected from their own calendar. Oh yeah, there is the reason the Maya are so fascinating is because they had astronomy, they had politics, poetry, architecture, and they don't owe anything to Greece, or Egypt, or Sumeria, or Babylon, or Ur, or Chaldea. They thought it up themselves. They did it themselves. They met problem after problem after problem and solved them in astonishingly unique ways.